palette knife is simply a tool that you use in order to apply your paint to the surface. There are several different types of palette knives, and they range in all different kinds of sizes. So you can have a small pointed, here's a flat small, a little bit medium small, you have a long, sort of pointed, a little bit wider, and then a really wide. So depending on the area that you're covering will determine what type of palette knife you're using. You're going to use just a medium palette knife. And I want you to play around with how you're going to apply your paint. You're actually going to mix your paint right on the paper. So I'm going to start with the brown, and if I want it a little bit lighter, I'm going to go ahead and add white to it. You can do the palette several different ways. You can just go on the side and just sort of rub it almost like you're frosting a cake. It's okay if we get it on the pear a little bit, because we're going to end up covering over it when we get to the actual object. You can sort of dab it. You can even draw through it. This is your chance to play around and get the feel of creating with a palette knife. You don't have a whole lot of control, so if you're doing a very tiny area, you want to go slow. If you're working in really tight, constricted areas. You can even wait till it dries and then cover over it with a contrasting color, just to give it a unique texture. When applying this, you can actually make it look nice and thick, where you could feel it and you could feel the bumpy texture, or you can go really smooth and have it be a really flat texture. It's your choice. So you're going to do the background first, as in all paintings, and then you'll do the object itself. Because it actually has a texture to it, you have to do your highlights and shadows as the paint is wet. So once I get the color down of my table, in order to get the shadow underneath the pear, I actually have to add that while the paint is wet. So I can get a little bit of green in there, mix it so you can't really see green. It's going to end up being the tone of red. I have to apply that shadow in there as it's wet. It's really hard to go back over it with a darker value once it's dry, because you have all these little bumps. When you get to the object itself, try to go in the direction that the object is. So I have a round pear. I want to actually take my palette knife and go in a rounded direction. I'll show you a finished picture right here. So you can actually see I started to curve it a little bit to make it look like it was round. If I were to go back and forth, it would look like a flat pear. So give it some dimension by going in the direction of the object. And that is using a palette knife.